All right, back again with the topic of this time. I'm talking about the topic of socialized or society's version of wasted potential. Now, you instantly might have been like, wasted potential is wasted potential. It is someone who had a lot of gifts or who might be a very talented individual, but they didn't use that talent to what others might feel like is the fullest potential. They didn't use their talent to serve a purpose in society. And that's pretty much the basis of why anyone else would be invested into your potential. Is to see what society, like we've been breaded like this since we've been little. Dream job. I was like, what if my dream or my final dream was to not, have that type of job in which I work under somebody? What if your dream job is to be somewhere else, you be your own boss, whatever, whatever. Now, someone might listen to what I just said and be like, well, yeah, this dream job is subjective, but you're not conditioned in a way to be your own boss. You're not conditioned from 6, 7, 8, 9 to think, or someone doesn't tell you be your own boss. They tell you you need a dream job or you need a job. And what do you want? And usually as a kid, well, I can't say usually because I said I wanted to be a superhero when I was a kid. I said all sorts of things. I wanted to be a veterinarian. I wanted to be an engineer and all that. Shit, I did other avenues after that when I grew up. And I'm like, nah. I won't reach that I won't reach that version that vision that 7-year-old me had. I won't reach that. I won't I won't have that dream job that 7-year-old me wanted for myself. And a lot of that had to do with my environment changing just how I viewed a job in general, changing how I view my dreams and my future in general. And I've seen it to where people get a degree and they're still suffering, or they're still broke, or they're living in an apartment. At one point, I had this illusion that you graduated college and everything's figured out. Yeah, of course you got your debt, but of course you get on like a fixed payment thing. You get a house. I thought you would get a house outside, out of college, not on some, oh, you graduated, here's a house. But no, like on some, I'm a first time homeowner. Uh, I know there's loans for first time loan owners, specifically first time homeowners. Uh, I just graduated college. Some banks do that, like college graduate percentage of it. Probably only be like one discount point, probably on your loan. But yeah, I thought you could still like technically get a house depending on what you graduate in college in, but now it's like you got a friend, bro, like he's in pre-med still, but he's in the actual medical field. It's sort of weird. It's like he's working, but he doesn't have the complete degree to be an actual doctor. He's like like whatever the motherfucking nurses is. He one of them, but he's still not making enough to supplement himself all the way. And I was like, that's crazy. Like he's actually, I don't know how it goes for medical school niggas. Man, I seen him graduate. Like he graduated and now he's in medical school. That's how it go? Y'all do like some work study shit, something after. Like he been doing work study for like 2-3 years. It seemed like shit, but that shit ain't getting them like, oh, you a doctor, nigga. And I know it doesn't work like that. Like, oh, you're magically a doctor, nigga. Like, oh, you making 8 bands a day, nigga. Like, nah, it don't work like that. I know it don't work like that, but at the same time, it's just like, damn, nigga. They ain't paying y'all like that? Like, what the fuck, boy? Like, I would think you would had a Audi or some shit by now. This, man, shit rough. Shit really rough. At least he can pay his bills, though. you know. So always clap it up for your folks when they can pay the bills. Always. Not, but things aren't so linear in terms of I want to reach my dream job. And I could tell back in the day used to be like, school, uh, let's say internship. School, internship, I got my job at like, dream job at like what, 23, 24? Nowadays, it's like, depending on what you want to do now. There's all sorts of avenues to accomplish your goal. But at some point in time along the let's say the trial and error phase of I want to do this, I want to do that, bills come a knocking, and expectations come a knocking. Expectations probably have always been prevalent, depending on who your parents might have been or who your family is. It might have been always been prevalent since you was like. Usually, people start imposing their expectations on their kids, and they always had these expectations, but really started imposing them on their kids pretty much by the time you start getting grades, for real. When I started really getting like standardized tests and grades, it's probably like third grade, and that's probably when expectations were first put upon me to. Oh, and I was getting straight A's and stuff like that in elementary. You know how that be, though. That's elementary. You just gotta write it in cursive, write your name in cursive. Do you know the adverb to? Yeah, I was getting straight A's, nigga. Nigga, it's English. Hell yeah, boy. So then there's such a big expectation shift and change. I felt like that came. It wasn't middle school, but probably like high school for me. High school, 11th grade. When I actually finally like really started struggling with the class. Like, I mean, there was multiple times in which I had problems with turning in homework and things of that nature, but when I was actually really struggling in a class like calculus, and expectations are like, well, you say you want to be an engineer, but you're struggling with just calculus. I'm like, I understand what you're saying, but and I'm reading, I'm studying up, and I'm trying to digest the info as best as possible. And along that trial and error process of trying to get calculus down, eventually I did get calculus down, but it really made me question my dream job at that point of high school was to be an engineer. But that was a big change from, I said the veterinarian thing when I was like 7. But that's a big change from being 7, being a veterinarian, to 16, want to be an engineer. Now, I just want to be in a place I'm happy, my bills are paid, and, everything else is pretty much taken care of. I can do whatever I wanted to in a reasonable frame. Like, I'm not trying to buy the motherfucking Miami Heat. A nigga just trying to be able to like move pretty much like either out of the country or just like move in general if I need to, and be okay and not feel like I gotta really break my bank to move, because I've seen it, or I've done it where I moved and I might not even have like furniture money for furniture. Now I'm in the place and I was really happy. I had a bed, had a place, I had some food, just a little. But I was really happy with just like no furniture and just that. I was really grateful, I should say. But it's getting harder to bridge that gap. For someone like me who did that sort of type of move in like 2019, before COVID accelerated the whole inflation process. Just the whole non-spending loans, PPP loans being granted, all the small SBA loans being granted, then they all being cleared off, and not really being cleared off, but transferred into the debt process of taxes. And now we're facing those repercussions on top of inflation that has accelerated due to the granting of this printing of money, like this mass printing of money. And then we're still printing money today to add on to the actual track of inflation that we're supposed to have been on. Because if we're being honest, we're probably like 1 or 2 years ahead in terms of where inflation is currently and where it should be. we're ahead, and that's all due to that lockdown. That was all due. Well, not really fully due to the COVID lockdown. Like I said, PPP loans, SBA loans are feeling the major hurt of having to pay all that back. And dreams I've seen for a lot of people have changed, or means of survival have changed for a lot of people. People have changed in general, just going through that event. And I was in therapy, and they ask you real important questions that you gotta bounce off your own self. Like, what do at the end of all this, when it was like at the end of all this, when everything went back to normal, what do you want your life to look like? Because motherfuckers was getting let go. Niggas was getting let go. I was like, shit. Nigga don't got a job no more. Like, it was wild. Like, for real. Like, they really just call you and be like, you can't come in. Probably, like, for me, they would call every day. Every day they'd say, like, you can't come in today. 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 And eventually they was like, no one could come in for a whole, almost a whole month. Or it was a whole month. No one could come in at all. My whole mental at that point was like, oh my God. How do I make my money? How do I get my stuff, my bills, my needs, my wants even? Because you need food. And I was like, how am I going to get my money to get certain things? And of course they set something up, and then eventually you got the stimulus, but it was very scary at that point in time for me, getting those calls saying you can't come in, you can't come in, you can't come in, and then eventually a mass thing going out talking about, oh, we not coming back for like probably 3 weeks to like a month. I was like, damn. And I was working at UPS at this time. Like, what the fuck? I was like, this is crazy times. But nah, like, my whole definition of a dream job or everything regarding a job in general has just changed. Because oftentimes you would see people press people about what type of dream job they want to have, just for, you might be in the midst of chasing your dream, and you probably have heard or felt all sorts of pressure from people. Not even just situations, might be people, or might be people that are stuck in a situation. Like, there's only one spot left for this research team, or the development team is only doing one promotion to this, And it's just, it always comes to a point in time, and we hear all sorts of nightmare stories about, oh, I worked for this job for 50 years, and they never promoted me to that one position up that I really, really wanted. And that was my dream, and I never got it. And I think nightmare statements like that play like a ping pong ball in a lot of our minds, because we were and this goes to parasocial relationships with the internet. You see people's failures, and it breeds a bigger section of fear in your brain, to where you're fearful of making mistakes. You want perfection, and you're trying not to step on any sort of landmine at all. But you're not giving yourself the space to really make your own mistakes. You're not giving yourself even the space to probably make your own decisions, because now you might go on Reddit every single time, or Google every single time now, and be like, am I doing this the right way? Am I on the right track? And of course, pros and cons with all that. Pros and cons with all of that. Society has turned a job, or a dream job, I like to just say a job in general, because when has there been any time you had a dream and You had a dream, and it was a job. I never had a like. I've had a lot of dreams about school. That's probably annoying. And very annoying to me, no lie. And the neighborhood. A lot of neighborhood dreams. I'm just stuck in the neighborhood, stuck like it's crazy. But I never really had like a job, like a dream about a job, or it wasn't even my desire for my end game to be, oh, I'm working this job happily. Nah, that was never my desire. So oftentimes where the conversation would come up to me, it would be in a societal serving manner. People would talk about how my talent or my potential can serve society instead of serving my own happiness. They would treat your happiness as probably like a byproduct. Like, oh, you're doing this because you're happy. But then eventually, there always comes a point in time in any job in which you're tired of the job. Unless you really, really love what you're doing. And this is the ladder. This is the ladder of our population that really, really loves what they're doing. Like, really, really loves. Because I don't care how much you love it, because on the flip side of love is hate. I go to video games, and I play video games because I like video games. I find happiness in video games. But there's always the flip side to every single thing. Something you find happiness in, you can find anger in, because it's not going the right way you want it that day, or because it's not operating the way you wanted it to operate. And those are just those days. You can't do nothing about it but control what you can control. Now, if it's a video game, unless it's like something like 2K, then you can't change the whole video game. You can turn that bitch off and take your ass to work out. Take your ass to an actual basketball court. But, nigga, if 2K playing like ass and, oh, nigga, Derek Fisher finished the layup on motherfucking Dikembe Mutombo. Nigga, the game is ass. I'm turning that shit off. That's what I can control. I can control that power button, nigga. I can't control 2K. I can't control how they make the game. I'll turn that bitch off, though. And it's sad because it's the only basketball game pretty much popularized that all your friends play. But, shit. People always talks about the happiness that could come from a dream job, but they never talk about the anger that also comes with a dream job. But it also goes to say with anything. In something that you look to find happiness in, you will find anger in. You will, just as a human. Something you look to find sadness in, you might even find happiness in a couple times. You know why? A broken clock always strikes right twice. A person can get a lot of things wrong, right? But there will always be a couple of times in which that person, that stupid nigga, is right. Always be open to learning from all sorts of people that come around you. They will have all sorts of perspectives and all sorts of experiences that you have never even experienced. And this is a good product or a pro of the internet, in which we can either relate to people who have the similar experiences, or we can now not gain experiences. Very important. It's very important that people do not feel like they gained the experience just because they read it on the internet. You do not gain that experience. You gain knowledge. You gain knowledge, but you do not gain that experience from what that person went through. People will take on their energy and feel like they got cheated instead of the actual person who got cheated. And I've seen that a lot with the internet. Parasocial relationships. A lot of people feeling like they got cheated because they read something about someone else getting cheated. Now they mad about someone else's bad situation. The person in the bad situation, they might have already made peace with it. They probably telling you something they already solved like 2 months ago, a month ago, 1 week ago. They solved it. They made peace with it. But now you mad about it. And why are you mad about it? Now you're looking goofy. Take some time to, just really, if you really feel that way, just to help the person. or listening helps. So just taking the time to just listen, digest it, is a good thing. But letting your emotions get it into the forefront is not a good thing. And there also goes with like that also goes with like now in society. If I was to if I was to be a really good basketball player, right? And people was like, "Oh, you going to the NBA? You going to the NBA? You going to the NBA?" NBA basketball in general, I might love it. I might like it. Where the fuck, might make me very happy. I go out there, I have a bad game. I probably make peace with the game, and I know what I need to work on. Someone else come along and be like, "Hey, you a bitch. You did everything wrong. You shouldn't have even lost. You shouldn't even be in the league." And the next thing you know, this is the general consensus. You might have a couple bad games. This is the general consensus now. You're a bad player. Your dream job has become your dream nightmare now. Because you might be like, it's your fault. Because of your performance. And yeah, it might be your fault because of your performance. Well, there ain't no might be. Nigga, it is your fault because of your performance. But at the same time, we should be able to give grace to humans to allow them to live in some form of peace. People are harassing Meg Thee Stallion in England or UK or where the fuck these stink niggas from. These motherfuckers harassing motherfuckers. And they never even met Shawty, never even had a conversation with the motherfucker. I'm like, yo, you really out here just yelling at niggas that's rich for real, and you not rich, or you not wealthy, or you not chasing after the ideal dream that you have, you're not centered correctly. I'm not gonna say you're not focused, you're just not centered correctly. And what that means is your priorities might not always be prioritized to and better your life. You're making some bad choices, my nigga. Because I know them niggas be out there. They be out there like, oh, they know Meg Thee Stallion coming. We gonna be out here for a whole 3 hours, 4 hours waiting for her just to say this one lame ass thing. I'm sorry, because I'm processing it and it's stupid. I'm processing it and it's stupid. It makes no sense. That's a hell of time to waste. Time that you could take. You could make some food, my nigga. Like, you could get a bitch that same day. You could get some money. You could work some overtime. You could work a double shift. You know? You could read a book. You could play the game. You could get some friends. You can go to the park. You could play basketball. Shit. I don't know what to say. You know, you could come up with a concept. There's a lot of things you can do with the right mind. But you gotta have the right mind to execute certain things. Back on track. A dream job can turn to a dream nightmare when you're not living up to others' expectations. That's what the whole thing with the NBA thing was about. Because you can't sit here and tell me that it wasn't Bronny James at one point, because it's probably the nigga that's most on the fire. It wasn't his dad is LeBron. I'm pretty sure his dream at one point was to play with his dad. At one point, could have been 8, could have been 7, could have changed. Also, when he reached teenagerhood, whatever, teenage adulthood, whatever, fuck, it could have changed. But people are changing a great situation for a regular person. Not to say he's a regular person, but if it was anyone else, it would be a great situation. Like, the NBA is always or something like that's always a great opportunity to come into your life. They changing that dream job sort of situation. They making it a dream nightmare. I would be, everybody tries to be ironclad about the trash talk, and it's all good. It's all great for your mental composure. But sometimes, with the composure comes moments of weakness. And I know those moments of weakness will always creep up on anyone. Anyone. Moments of weakness will creep up on anyone. Anyone who seems undefeatable is not undefeatable. Moments of weakness creeps up on anyone. Always think about how to treat a person like how you would like to be treated after a bad game. Some people, they do want that kick in the ass. But there's a kick, and then there's I'm going to shove an M4 up there, and I'm going to slaughter you and your family. Some people are calling, like, bro's dad a dictator, and then they calling this nigga a nepotism baby, which he is. He pretty much is a nepo. I ain't gonna lie. He sort of is a nepo baby. I ain't gonna lie. But at the same time, it's just like, damn, this shit it's not always goddamn respectful. It's not always cordial. You never know if you end up in a situation in which Bronny James could could be looking to employ someone for his marketing, employ someone for your editing for his page, or get someone for PR, get someone to do some software for his clothing line. You don't never know what come in the future. You never know what comes in the future, and you openly disrespected him during his summer league time. Now, he could be gracious enough to be like, you know what, you changed. You a changed man, I could see you was like 12, 13 that time. I was still willing to fuck with you because I like what you put out. But usually with people that are just AIDS, niggas that are just AIDS, they are spending their time being AIDS and not spending their time being constructive. And also a lot of these niggas are bots too. Not bots in the sense like, oh, this is a human acting like an NPC. No, nigga. I'm not talking about no hive mind shit. I mean, like, there are literal bots that are pushing hate. People don't talk about it, but bots outnumber humans on the internet in terms of online presence. That's why you see so many bots in the comments, and you see so many bots in, like, this, that, social media, this, that, social media. It look good for people's followers, subscribers, and all sorts of shit. But it still doesn't change the hurtful message they might be pushing out. Because all these bots, they could be like 50 bots, 100 bots linked to like one person. One person sends out a leak on someone. Say you a girl and this nigga rig a bot to send out 200 leaks of your thing around the clock. Now that nigga AIDS. He spent all that time doing all this when he could go get a 6-figure job. That's an AIDS ass nigga. He could get a 5-figure job easily. 6-figure job, he might try to get some certification first, but with that time you putting on into being AIDS, slowly you could be putting that time into getting on the right track and being constructive with your life and your time. But hey, that's all I got. Wasted potential is not wasted potential as long as you are happy with where you're at the end of the day. A lot of people will let society dictate their happiness. Don't let society be a thief of happiness with all its comparisons. We see all these comparisons through social media, and it allows us to project our unwanted insecurities upon someone else in their situation, or be like, I would be better off if I was born like them, or blah 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 blah. And you might be like, nigga, that's dumb, nigga. They don't got no goddamn love for themselves, nigga. That nigga a bitch. Nah, you saying all this, but these are the impressionable kids. These are really the impressionable kids, and I want you to pass along, a message to yo folk, your kid folk, your kin folk, really, like your family, your nieces, nephews, your sons, daughters, to tell them like your potential is not wasted unless you view it as wasted. It goes back to and it's gonna be the last shit, cause I'm trying to get out of here. Basketball player, dude played with Kobe. Nigga was ass, like Kwame Brown. There we go. He was going on this. I don't know if anyone know, but he was going on his little rants at like back to back during this time when he was cussing people out. He had brought up a good perspective on he made it to the NBA. He made millions. He made like $1 million, at least $1 million dollars. There's a lot of people, and you'll be surprised they die, and they never touched $1 million. A lot of people die, and they never touch $1 million. A lot of people die, and they never even whiffed $1 million. A lot of people die, and they never even touch their dream job. Like, touch their dream job. Like, they never even, like, was the cleaning boy on the NBA, squad. Never even got to touch their dream job. You think niggas wake up and dream of being the NBA cleaning towel boy, nigga? Nigga, at one point, that nigga had hoop dreams. That nigga don't want to be the towel boy. He want to be on the court, playing some ball. But, at another point, you got to reconcile that society is telling you some truths in terms of the people around you. Because society is not something you deject. You got to accept a lot of things. Society is one of those things you got to accept because people make up your society. You are one of those people. You help make up society. So you might not make up the general consensus around a certain topic, like wasted potential. Like, I know my general definition of wasted potential is different from everybody else's. I don't believe potential can be wasted. I believe you do what you can, you do what you want with whatever the fuck you want to do. And you let that be whoever else, if they not asking you for help or they not asking you for any sort of advice, you let them do what they want to do with their career and their life. And you don't get that say. And even if someone does have that say in your life, you better not give them $2. Better not give them $2 or 2 fucks, what they say. It's too many people, they get derailed in life because they allow society to tell them what you're doing is not fit, or it's not gonna make you a lot of money. I think that's the biggest thing now. People telling people not to pursue things because it's not making them a lot of money, or people telling them do this because it's gonna make them a lot of money. Instead, we should have people actually try to experience things with other people. Like, when you have a kid, don't just try to ask them over and over and over and over, what's your dream job? Go out there, make experiences with your kid, do this, that with your kid, and then let them eventually, you could pose the question, like, but I ain't gonna lie, I seen some parents annoying as fuck. They will ask that. Like, if the kid doesn't know, one day, they will ask it again. Not even the next day, they'll ask it an hour later. Like, nigga, you think the fucking answer changed the hour later? That motherfucker's 7. He's probably just trying to take a bath, go to sleep. They want you to read a bedtime book to him. And you over here still yapping. They come back, do it an hour again. Some parents come back, do it an hour again. And now they're threatening to whoop you. Like, some people be like, okay, this is all made up, blah, blah, blah. No, parents, black parents, will, let me not just say black parents, because there's a lot of parents in general. They will impose force to either rush patience or rush your answer. And this can honestly lead to more damage than good at all. Because it leads to misdirection, disillusionment, not disillusionment, what the fuck am I saying? Disillusion. and it can lead to just a lot of being lost in terms of I wanted this and I feel like I want that, but is that really right? I ain't gonna lie, I need that water so bad and it was dying. Ooh, that water felt good to the soul, on God. But yeah, you never know who could who could end up where and what's wasted potential to another person. It's always very important before you build a relationship with anybody that you get their definition on certain topic, and not always just default interject your definition into your relationship without any sort of conversation.